Welcome to Niner Report Podcast with your host, Patrick O'Brien. Welcome to Niner Report Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick O'Brien, back here on the air this week. The 49ers had a tough loss last week against Temple, but now they take on Old Dominion. The Monarchs come in at 2-2 with wins against Hampton and UTSA, losses against at Appalachian State and at NC State about 2 weeks and 3 weeks ago. Looking at this preview, it's finding some intriguing matchups and everything, but I know the 49ers are well aware with what the Monarchs have on offense and defense there. Last year they faced them in an exciting and thrilling, but eventually it came down to a loss for the 49ers, a 37-34 win for Old Dominion, in courtesy of the quarterback and wide receiver play for the Monarchs. Now they head into this season. The Old Dominion is averaging about 29 points per game, but they're also giving up a ton with 30 points per game to opponents. They like to use a balanced attack to move the chains if they could. They're solid in the passing game, especially with their senior quarterback, has a lot of experience and everything. David Washington, he's averaging about 186 yards per game, completing about 56% of his passes, has 8 touchdowns, compared to only 1 interception right now. So he's keeping the ball, moving the chains, finding ways to score, and not turn the ball over this year so far in the passing game. They like to use a tandem running back and a few others that do get some touches there, but mostly it's going to be junior running back Ray Lowry and sophomore running back Jeremy Cox. They're both averaging about 70 yards a game, and they'll split time between those two. But most of the time, you're going to see, I think Ray Lowry has just a few more touches than Cox does right now. But I think they'll be using a tandem running back along with a few others there. You want to look on the outside, the wide receiver. Obviously, you remember this name, Zach Pascal. Last year, he destroyed the 49ers. I mean, literally took them apart. Had 11 receptions, 231 yards, 3 touchdowns. And if I remember correctly, he had the game-winning touchdown there for the Monarchs, if I remember correctly from last year. He literally destroyed them, like I said, and 49ers have struggled against the deep ball, giving up big plays, and I'm sure Pascal will be, looking to get right back on the field against these 49ers with what he did last year. On defense, they recorded 3 interceptions on the year, only 3 interceptions on the year. The linebackers kind of lead the way for the defense. They're both seniors. T.J. Ricks, Anthony Wilson, they're the leaders, vocal leaders for this defense. They do have some experience and everything coming back from last year. From the linebacker core, I would look at Wilson. Senior linebacker, has 6 tackles for losses, 27 total tackles so far, total tackles for a loss of the season as a unit. But Wilson is the one that leads the team with 6. He also leads the team with 3 sacks, and on the season there as a unit overall as a defense they have 12. And they've only given up about 9 sacks on the offensive side of the ball there. So something to keep a look at. We've noticed that the Charlotte 49ers certainly putting the pressure on Kevin Olsen. Has some effect on him. Coming off a subpar couple performances so far this week. They'll definitely be keying. The 2 linebackers will definitely be keying on the running backs who've been, Khalif Phillips returned with over 100 yards. You've had Robert Washington had 100 yard earlier in the year. They use a solid, pedigree for the running backs to move the chains, and the 49ers are gonna look to do it again. That's their bread and butter. So I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of load the box, try to stop the run, force Olsen to throw the ball. Something that he's had some turnover issues at sometimes, but always has been on key point with his wide receivers and be able to move the chains and put the ball in the end zone. Has had some success but not all the time there. That's something they're going to be, I'm sure Old Dominion is going to be keen on, putting some blitzes, especially with their linebackers, and kind of loading the box. Let's see, they're converting about 33% on third down. In the 2 losses, they've actually been only converting about 31%. Something to kind of look for. If 49ers defense can keep themselves off the field, create some turnovers if they could, or just get a key 3 and outs, they have a nice chance in this one, especially being at home. One thing I'm kind of looking at as well is kind of an amazing little stat there for the first 4 games. The Monarchs have actually been struggling to get into the end zone. They've had 16 red zone chances, 10 scores, only 8 of them have been touchdowns. So they've, and 2 of the 2 others have been field goals there. So, when it gets down to the end zone, red zone there for the 49ers defense, this team doesn't have the success right now to put the ball in the end zone, especially with the offense there, which is kind of surprising. I thought they would be a little bit better there, but they're going to be looking for Pascal, like I said, especially in this one after the Charlotte secondary has given up a ton of yards in the big plays and passing game and everything like that. So look for that. The other one key stat is the turnover margin, always key in this one. Charlotte has done a solid job so far, but Old Dominion has had a little bit better success. They're +6 in the turnover margin this year against their opponents, and so look for that. It could be a key if the Monarchs can get some early turnovers, fumbles, interception, anything like that. That could play right in the hands of the Monarchs, getting out to an early lead, especially on the road, and try to take this crowd out of the probably it's going to be a great atmosphere in Charlotte there. So those are some of the things I kind of wanted to bring attention to the 49er fans here. So look for those keys. We'll have some more coming up on the Niner Report with some few articles, more previews of the Monarchs, and hopefully we can bring some more stuff to you recruiting-wise, basketball-wise, and football-wise to Niner Report. Other than that, you enjoy the rest of your day.